I work in commercials. I've worked in commercials since I arrived in Los Angeles back in '95, and so doing commercials is pretty corporate, and so you always kind of look for a more artistic way of expressing things. It's like, how can you really get too excited about what's my motivation for taking the yogurt out of the refrigerator? It's like a little boring. So I always looked for little small projects like music videos or little short films or things like that, just to break the monotony of every single day working on HP or working on insurance commercials and things like that. And so my wife has a dance company, a Bollywood dance company, and she has probably a stable of 20 dancers in the company. One of the dancers happened to have a boyfriend who was an editor and also a surfer. So by association, we became friends. I never would have known this guy outside of the fact that his girlfriend danced in my girlfriend's dance company. So we started chatting. He's an editor. I wanted to be a director. We both like surfing. And so the idea came when we were just out, we were in Venice one day, and I was like, we've watched them put on a show at the Ford Theater for the last 2 years in a row. And there's always all of this all kinds of drama that builds up to it. People break their leg. People get in fights with their boyfriend. They drop out, So it was always like a problematic, I guess, not problematic.
Especially with such a big company, too.
It's a big company, and so there's so many different things that can go wrong. And so I'd watched everything, fall apart and then come together at the end for 2 years in a row. And one day we were out there, and I was like, Eamon, why aren't we, doing a documentary about this company? We just started chatting. He had a camera package. We were going to shoot it with no lights. He could edit. I was going to write a story about, the evolution of a dance company, and that's what we kind of set out to do. Once we shot everything, we got into the editing bay, and the idea of an hour-long documentary about the evolution of a dance company became quite boring. And so then, once we started seeing what stories we had and what we didn't have, it just became obvious that the film should be about the one-night-only performance at the Ford Theater and the build-up to it. And the fact that it took on a short film role rather than a feature-length documentary, it just lent itself to being more interesting, because that's the one thing that you want, is something that'll push the story forward and not just languish in boredom.
Now, certainly, your wife finding out that, she had a medical problem that was that something that happened during the middle of this, or was it something that was sort of known beforehand?
No, it kind of happened in the middle. And it was in the middle. It was pretty much like it played out. Right. She was kind of, she started feeling the numbness and the tingling and all of that. And so, in that portion of the movie, I didn't really want to be like, oh, it's an MS movie or anything like that. It was important because it's, a part of the story, but it's not something like beat it over your head. This is a movie about disabilities or anything like that. So it was just something that we wanted to touch on, briefly mention it, and kind of move on from there.
The reality is, it's directly related to everything that's happening.
Yes.
So did you have any thoughts about not putting it in at all?
I definitely thought about not putting it in. One, because, it's not public knowledge for her and all of the people that she works with.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis, she doesn't say, hi, my name is, Earl McDaniel and I've got MS. She doesn't say anything. So it's only our close personal friends, obviously our family. Some family members don't even know. So it was definitely something that we thought about cutting from the movie entirely, but then it made it back in. So. They're actually in rehearsal for the next show at the Ford Theater this summer.
Okay, so
I've got a commercial basically for their next show.
Exactly. So, because we'll be able to edit it. So, do you know when in the summer it's going to be and what it's called?
Yeah, it's a combination. I don't know what it's called yet. I think she's still working on the title, but it's a cross between Romeo and Juliet and West Side Story. So it's kind of taking the Bollywood, themes of the wrong side of the tracks. Boy's family is not the right kind of family for the girl's family and stuff like that. And then she'll just put her own kind of story together for it. But it's in, I believe it's August of next year.